There's language in the big, beautiful bill that threatens American property rights, and I need you guys to call your representatives and tell them this language has to be struck. Let me explain. There is currently a massive carbon dioxide pipeline project planned through much of the Midwest. This is being planned by a company called Summit. This carbon dioxide pipeline will take CO2 from ethanol plants to a permanent burial location. Thanks to the Biden administration, companies that permanently, quote unquote, sequester carbon from industry can receive $85 per metric ton of carbon stored. So that sets Summit up to receive $1.5 billion every year in taxpayer funds for this pipeline project. So leaving aside the scientific efficacy and the safety of these carbon pipelines, let's just set that all aside. Let's shelve that. My issue mainly with this whole thing is the fact that Summit has tried to use eminent domain to force landowners who do not want their land to be used for this pipeline to turn those rights over to the company for this project. Last year, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem signed into law a bill that would allow the carbon pipelines to use eminent domain to force private property owners to give up their rights if Summit needed their land for the project. But South Dakota fought back. They got enough signatures to force a vote on the issue, and they won. Earlier this year, they passed a law outright banning the use of eminent domain for carbon dioxide pipelines. I hear from sources close to the issue that the day after that bill passed, Summit's lobbyists packed their stuff and headed to DC for Plan B. And Plan B just showed up in the big, beautiful budget reconciliation bill. Buried in section 41001, the bill allows carbon dioxide pipeline companies to petition the government for a certificate that would allow them to use eminent domain to force their projects through under the power of the federal government. And all they have to do is pay the low cost of $10 million to apply for this certificate. Personally, I don't think American property rights should be for sale. It's worth noting that some of the folks in and around the Trump administration have connections to Summit and to this pipeline. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is now the head of Homeland Security. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum is now the head of the Department of the Interior. He's been very, very supportive of this pipeline. One of Trump's huge mega donors named Howard Ham looks to own about a quarter of Summit's parent company through his company, Continental. Howard Ham is pretty tight with Doug Burgum. Some people say the reason that Burgum got the job heading up the Department of the Interior is because of Howard Ham. And Howard is said to advise Trump on energy policy. I have all of these details written up for you guys as always at AmericaOn1.com so you can read more about it. I will note that Doug Burgum has always said he doesn't support eminent domain. He just thinks the carbon pipeline is good for business in North Dakota. So just giving you guys all the information. Whether or not you think the carbon pipeline is a good idea, American property rights should not have a price tag. Call your representatives and tell them this language needs to be struck from the big, beautiful budget reconciliation bill because American property rights are very, very important and worth fighting for, no matter who the corporate interest on the other side is. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you.